Hello everyone, Voodoo here, and you guys voted for it. It won by like 61% to 39% on the poll. So here it is with a no mover guide. So we're gonna do this a little weird because there are actually viable builds for both. If you're playing single target, Aldrachi Reaver is the better build. If you're playing AOE, Felskar is the better build. We're gonna include stuff for both, but I'm gonna do rotation for the best builds for each one. So they don't play super differently from each other, so it shouldn't be too difficult to figure it out. But yeah, with that, I don't know, like, comment, subscribe, and let's just jump right into it. So obviously, first things first, we got to do talent builds, right? Now, these ones are pure no mover, which means that I removed Vengeful Retreat as well. It is better to use Vengeful Retreat. If you do want to play Vengeful Retreat, you will take off Blind Fury in both of these builds I'm going to show you for single target, and take Initiative and Tactical Retreat. If you absolutely, under zero circumstances, never want to move, you remove those, 2 Blind Fury. You won't be moving with that. Trust me, you'll be channeling Ivan for a while. But this is the best No Mover ST build. This is actually our best single target build in general. Now, the thing with this build is that it's highly uptime dependent. Aldrachi Reaver and Cycle of Hatred and Shadow Destiny are all uptime specs. Like, you suffer so much from one global downtime, but it is also the highest just total damage on single target that Havoc can do, mover or no mover. That's with VR, but obviously it's not that big of a difference. So this is the build if you are trying to just do the most damage you can with no mover. If you want to play Felskar instead, then this is the option for that. Very similar stuff. We're just dropping the glaive points and picking up a few other talents down here. This is our highest one for that. Enemies necessary, way more valuable for this one because of Burning Blades and Demon Surge as opposed to the other build. But again, not very different here. I don't know why this is like this. You should change this around a little bit, but whatever. And then yeah, this is just going to be your Felskar build for single target. It has better cleave because Demon Surge is a hell of a drug, but doesn't really do, you know, as much single target as the other one does. So this is like your cleave raid option, and then this is your absolute pure 100% single target damage option. You'll notice obviously a few things moved around. Way easier to take darkness in this one as well because erratic fell heart doesn't really matter. Now if you're doing Mythic Plus, the best one is going to be this. This is the no mover build for Mythic Plus with Felskar. Felskar, of course, does way more AoE damage than Aldrachi Reaver does. Aldrachi Reaver just has more defensiveness. Now you'll notice I am taking Initiative. Initiative is going to be very strong even if you never push Vengeful Retreat, because you keep damaging a bunch of different enemies in a Mythic Plus dungeon, right? Every single pack you go into, every single boss you fight is a new enemy. So you'll have very high uptime of this buff, and it's really like you have to take it in Mythic Plus even if you don't ever use Vengeful Retreat. Which again, of course, no mover build, you don't, whatever. Again, if you are taking this and you feel like you can Vengeful Retreat, you drop Blind Fury and grab it like that. Simple, straightforward, pretty easy there, but otherwise nothing too crazy on that front. There's also the option, of course, of dropping Dancing with Fate over this instead, although then you kind of run into some weird things where you need to do something like this. But for now, just run this build. And if you want to play the Aldrachi in AoE, it is going to be this one here. Again, very similar to the other build. We're just swapping out some things to pick up the glaive talents because the glaives are very strong for Aldrachi Reaver. Now this one, again, worse AoE damage. It's going to only be for you doing like bio target damage, which honestly Felskar is pretty good at anyways. But this helps you live because of this talent right here, Armory Unto Oneself, where every time you use Fellblade, you get a 10% DR for 5 seconds. That's like way more powerful than anything that Felskar offers. Very powerful, but again, you know, no mover stuff for this one. And then the other one is going to be this. Those are talent builds. We're going to do rotations now. Now, to keep this video not crazy long, we're going to do Aldrachi Reaver rotation for single target and Felskar rotation for AoE. Otherwise, it'd be like way beyond the scope of this guide. But they're pretty applicable for each other, and I'll talk briefly about just slight modifications if you're doing single target on one or AoE on the other. All right, so obviously, let's talk about rotation now. So the rotation for Aldrachi Reaver and single target is pretty straightforward. It really is just boils down to throw the glaives when they come up. Otherwise, you're just pushing Chaos Strike as much as you can to get your I-Beam cooldown and using everything else on CD. We'll talk about that after. We'll start with the opener, of course. So we're gonna start off with a Immolation or a pre-pull, followed by a Sigil of Flame and an I-Beam and a Fellblade. Once you I-Beam, you want to hunt in, throw the glaive, Death Sweep, Annihilation, Meta, Death Sweep, Annihilation, Death Sweep if you get a reset, Sigil of Spite, I-Beam. From here, you should have another glaive you can throw. We'll throw it. We'll do Essence Break, Death Sweep, Annihilation, and Annihilation. And from here, we are going to just be using Annihilation and using all our fear generational abilities as much as possible. You want to just get your I-beam cooldown as back as quick as you can. You want to generate souls as much as you can. And whenever you get a glaive, you want to just throw it on CD. There's no point holding it. If you have the ability to use Death Sweep first, you should. Otherwise, you want to just send it, and obviously I-beam on cooldown. The one time you want to hold I-beam as if Essence Break has 8 or less seconds on it. Otherwise, you want to just send I-beam and just keep pumping numbers, keep pushing buttons, and try and get back your next glaive. We're going to throw it again, refresh our buff window here, and we're just going to chill and wait for I-beam to come back up, right? Like I said, we want to just use it on CD and just fill back up until we get I-beam. So again, we're holding I-beam, Essence Break for this I-beam window. I-beam, Essence Break, Death Sweep, Annihilation, Annihilation, and everything else we are just pushing on CD. The one thing is that you don't want to use the hunt if you already have the ability to throw a glaive, as it will waste it. Other than that, again, you are just throwing glaives on CD. You're pushing Chaos Strike as much as you can to get I-beam back. You're using I-beam on cooldown unless Essence Break has 8 seconds or less on its cooldown, and you're pumping in the boss and you're doing as much damage as you possibly can here. So AoE is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to do a full AoE thing. We're just going to pull up the build here and I'll talk you through a little bit of the differences. The biggest difference, one second. Where is my, oh well. Biggest difference here is that you're going to have Glaive Tempest, which you should just use on cooldown. And you're gonna have more value with Fury of the Aldrachi. So in Fury of the Aldrachi, when you're in AoE, it is more valuable to hold the glaives for Blade Dance if you're fighting more than 3 targets. Otherwise, you can just send it and you'll be fine. But if you're fighting more than 3 targets, the Fury of the Aldrachi is just going to be more damage. Now, you don't really want to tab target around like at all. Sorry, I'll just swap the build now. You don't really want to tab target basically at all. We should also be having Sigil of Spite here. I definitely forgot to change that earlier. Whoopsies. Note to self. Redditing. But we have Sigil of Spite, we have all these things here. Biggest thing is literally just Immolation Ore is going to be very important because of Rage Fire, because of a Fire Inside. We're just going to use those on cooldown because we don't have any form of Fel Rush stuff. Use Glaive Tempest on cooldown outside of Demon Form. If you're inside of Demon Form, unless it's meta, don't use it. Try and hold it. Try and use it before you enter meta or after you leave meta if it comes up during it. And again, when fighting 3 or more targets, you want to use the Blade Dance portion over the Reaver's Glaive single target Chaos Strike portion instead. So just going to show you that. So we're fighting 5 targets here. I'll hunt just to get a glaive. We'll throw my glaive. I want to Chaos Strike first when I'm fighting this many targets, and then Blade Dance. And I want to just always be fighting my one target that has Reaver's Mark on it so that I can always be getting as many souls as possible from Wounded Quarry. All right, so we're here with the Mythic Plus build for Felskard now, and you'll notice, again, build very similar to the other one. They all play pretty close, so it's not too big of a deal. So this one, again, just very AoE focused. Shouldn't be too different if you're playing single target or not, and we'll keep it nice and simple. Now, there is one small thing here. The big difference is you want to save Sigil of Flame for your I-beam basically every single time. Just because of the buff it gives you from Student of Suffering. Giving you like a 20% mastery buff is pretty big. Other than that though, nothing too crazy. There is one small note. You can do a slightly different opener where you use Death Sweep, meta Death Sweep with Essence Break. Generally speaking, I think it's pretty hard to hit that on average when just with how like Essence Break's hitbox is. So I'm not going to recommend you do it. You definitely can. It doesn't change too many things, but it is something that you can do and think about just going forward. So here are with the rotation. We'll just get right onto it. So what you want to do, you do want to throw a glaive as you get into the pack just to spread around Burning Wound. Minor thing, but it is going to be helpful. So you throw your glaive, you want to Immolation Aura, just basically so you have 0 charges. Drop a Sigil of Flame, then hunt, use Glaive Tempest, then you want to I-beam, Death Sweep, Annihilation, meta, Death Sweep, Annihilation, Death Sweep if you get a proc, use both your Immolation Aura charges, Sigil of Flame, I-beam, and then you want to do Essence Break, Death Sweep, Annihilation, Annihilation. And at this point, Glaive Temp is back up. You can push that. And from here, you are just going to be using Immolation Aura on CD, basically, and just using your Chaos Strike to try and get resets of Blade Dance. You do want to tab target around so you spread around your Burning Wounds. But otherwise, like, you're just kind of sitting here and you're pushing Chaos Strike until your cooldowns come back up. Use Glaive Tempest outside of your demonic windows whenever possible. Use Blade Dance on CD. Hold Sigil of Flame for your I-beam window, and yeah, that's basically it. We'll go down to one more I-beam window, which should be coming up here in a second. So I-beam window is here, so we're going to Sigil of Flame, I-beam, Essence Break, and then Death Sweep, Annihilation, Annihilation, and then we want to spend down tool out of meta, and then we can use Glaive Tempest, right? So don't do that inside of meta. So yeah, so recap, you want to spend down all of your Immolation Aura charges before you meta. You want to use your I-Beam with your Essence Break whenever possible. You want to use Glaive Tempest outside of your demonic windows, and you want to always be holding a Sigil of Flame for your I-Beam. When you're playing this build in single target, which again is going to be this one, it's very, very similar. You're going to be playing, again, very close to the other build. You want to always be saving a charge of Sigil of Flame for your Essence Break windows. You want to be using I-Beam on cooldown unless you have 8 or less seconds left on Essence Break just to sync those up. Otherwise, again, you're just pushing Chaos Strike until the cows come home. Opener is pretty much the same. So the opener for this one, again, is going to be Immolation Aura, Sigil of Flame, I-Beam, Death Sweep, Annihilation, meta, and you go there. Exact same opener in AoE or single target, so nothing too complex or crazy there. And just saving your Sigil of Flame and just keeping everything nice and tight and pushing as many Chaos Strikes as you possibly can. So to end off this video here, I do want to talk briefly about stats. Now, if you want to know a whole gearing guide, I have 2 videos about that on my channel. I have one that's specifically for gear, and I have one that's like a season 1 guide in total that covers basically everything in broad strokes. Great guide there too if you want to learn about inertia from the season 1 guide. For no mover stuff, there's no differences in gear, so I'm not going to touch that. The only thing is going to be stats. So if you're playing Felskard, you do want more mastery. You want like a mastery crit kind of loadout. If you're playing the Aldrachi one, you want a crit haste kind of loadout. Now the haste is really good in single target for Cycle of Hatred. If you're playing an AoE, use mastery. But Cycle of Hatred just makes haste really, really good. If you're playing the Felskard, no mover, single target, Cycle of Hatred, noun build, then you do want like an even mix of mastery, haste, and critical strike. They're all very good. But otherwise, mastery and crit for Felskard, haste crit for Aldrachi single target, crit mastery for Aldrachi AoE, and a little bit more haste if you're playing Felskard in single target. So just want to touch briefly on stats. If you want full gearing guides, other stuff on my channel. But there you go. All right, everybody, there you have it. A very quick no mover guide. No mover is one of those things where it's like, I don't really know how far in depth to go because it means different things to so many different people. But I hope you guys found this useful. I don't know, Felskard for AoE, Aldrachi for single target, a little bit of a touch on if you want to mix and match there. But yeah, so hope you guys liked it. Nothing else to really talk about here. Let me know what you want down below for future videos. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for 12,000 subs. Kind of crazy, but here we are. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace. A big thank you to all my channel members. Thank you rpalms46, Fear Redefined, Justin Penny, Callum Price, Gabriel Correa, Magic Man 133, Belfafa Dern Dark Terror, Sky Elk, and Brad Wisniak. Thank you guys so much. If you want to become a channel member and just support me a little bit, link in the description. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.